Please stay. I'm sorry. That's gotta be hard. Hey.
Hi, I'm Max. Welcome to Timeline Movie Recap.
Millie Calloway needed a job badly enough to lie her way into one. She showed up at a sprawling house in Great Neck, Long Island, interviewing to be the housemaid for the Winchesters. Nina, her husband Andrew, a tech guy who'd personally designed every inch of the house, and their 7-year-old daughter Cece, who lived for ballet. Nina took one look at Millie's resume, degrees, references, the works, and asked the obvious question: why would someone this qualified want to clean houses? Millie didn't blink. She said she loved domestic work as long as it was for the right family. Nina bought it,
Good.
walked her through the house, and let slip something Andrew didn't know yet. She was pregnant.
Yeah, congrats.
Millie got a room on the roof, cab fare home, and instructions to wait for a callback. Here's the thing about resumes. Everybody embellishes a little. Nina just had no idea how much. Millie's resume was fiction front to back. No degree, no references, no fixed address. She'd been sleeping in her car, washing up in gas station bathrooms, getting moved along by cops for loitering. When Nina's callback finally came, Millie didn't hesitate for a second. On arrival, Millie crossed paths with Enzo, the gardener, who looked at her like she'd already done something wrong. The house, once spotless, was now a wreck, and Nina was too buried in writing a speech to notice. Millie cleaned without being asked twice. That night, Andrew and Cece came home. Cece wasn't exactly thrilled about the new maid. Millie turned down dinner and went straight to her room, a pattern that would repeat every single time she got an invitation. Once alone, she noticed something off. The door had a double lock, and the windows were bolted shut, like a cell. Nina showed up with food, claimed the room used to be Andrew's file storage, promised to fix it, and handed Millie a company credit card and phone for household errands. Nothing says "welcome to the family" like a locked room and a phone you never asked for. The next morning, Millie woke up late. Fought a door that wouldn't open, and walked downstairs into a full-blown meltdown. Nina's speech had vanished, and Nina was already pointing fingers at her. Andrew calmed his wife down and rewrote it himself. Millie apologized anyway, despite not having done a thing.
I wrote them by hand! Where are they? I love you so much. I love you. You need to be more careful next time.
Later, almost as an aside, Andrew admitted that Nina's moods had been unstable lately. Little frictions kept piling up. Enzo's cold stares.
What are you doing here?
That night, while cleaning the bathroom, Millie stumbled upon a single unmarked pill inside a closet. Something fell off, so she tried opening a locked glass cabinet. When suddenly,
Get out.
with Nina out, Millie cooked for Andrew and Cece, turned down dinner again, and went upstairs. Alone in her room, she found herself scrolling Andrew's Instagram, catching feelings she wasn't ready to admit to.
Hey.
Andrew showed up with cake, apologizing for his wife's behavior. Something shifted between them, and it escalated into something physical. And because no thriller script can resist a cliche, the apology cake somehow led to a lot less clothing.
No.
Just a very inconvenient dream. Nina handed over a room key as promised, though the windows stayed broken. That Saturday, Millie asked for the day off. Nina said no, Andrew said yes, taking Cece out for the day and a ballet class. The truth? Millie had a parole check-in. She'd done time, she was still under supervision, and she kept a journal religiously. Her parole officer reminded her that one slip-up meant the remaining 5 years of her sentence would catch up to her. The moment she finished, Nina called, demanding she pick up Cece, without giving an address. Millie had to drive from studio to studio until a ballet mom, Patrice, mentioned Cece already had a sleepover planned. When Patrice called Nina to confirm, Nina conveniently remembered, making Millie look incompetent for a problem Nina had manufactured herself. Gaslighting works best when it looks like an honest mistake. Nina had the bit down cold. Back at the house, Andrew's mother, Evelyn, was visiting. Nina mentioned casually that the sleepover had been arranged for a while, conveniently never having told Millie. That night, Millie couldn't sleep, so she did what any reasonable person does at 2 in the morning, parked herself in front of the TV. Nina had said it was fine, and the house was dead quiet.
Glug, 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 ding. Family Feud.
And of course, Andrew couldn't sleep either. Because nothing in this house is ever simple. They talked way longer than they should have. Millie let slip she'd been out of touch with her parents for years, something she clearly wasn't ready to get into. Andrew, clearly in his feelings, brought up his late father, then casually mentioned that Nina's parents died in a house fire when she was a kid. Awful enough. Except police once suspected Nina started it herself, since she was the only one who made it out. Then, because this house has never heard of privacy, Nina just appeared. Millie tried to play it cool. Didn't work. The second Andrew headed to bed, Nina dropped the act, fired Millie on the spot, told her to be gone by morning. Millie begged. Nina, shockingly, let her stay 1 more week, cover up, and a very clear "stay away from my husband" warning. The next day, with Andrew at work and Cece at school, Nina hosted Patrice and her friend group. While serving snacks, Millie overheard Nina say she wanted another baby. Odd, for someone who'd claimed to be pregnant earlier. When Nina stepped away to take a call, her friends gossiped she looked run down, didn't deserve someone like Andrew, and had spent 9 months in psychiatric care after a mental health crisis. Millie absorbed all of it and wrote in her journal that night. Nina was manipulative, had even lied about the pregnancy, and Andrew was a saint for putting up with her. The following Saturday, Millie was left in charge of Cece. Curiosity got her again. She checked Nina's medication and found haloperidol, an antipsychotic used for acute psychosis. While Cece was distracted, Millie made a call about another job opening, ready to quit. Not realizing Cece overheard every word, Millie brushed it off as Cece mishearing. It became the start of a real bond between them, playing with a dollhouse, where Cece said, dead serious, that Millie shouldn't be sleeping in the rooftop room. Andrew and Nina came home. Nina was in tears. Andrew confided that they'd been trying for a baby for a long time, and that day's test results confirmed Nina couldn't conceive, and that Cece wasn't even his biological daughter, but from Nina's first marriage. He said it changed nothing about how he felt about her. Around midnight, breaking glass in a fight jolted Millie awake. Nina was standing there gripping a shard of glass, blood dripping, eyes empty.
Andrew?
Millie panicked and screamed for Andrew, terrified for his safety. But Andrew was fine. The blood was Nina's, from gripping the glass too hard. The next day, Nina apologized for the lies and the chaos, handed over a stack of her old clothes, and asked Millie to book Andrew's favorite concert plus a 5-star hotel room as a surprise apology, scheduled for Saturday, when Cece would be at a sleepover and Millie would have the day off. While watching Cece at ballet practice, a babysitter dropped a bombshell. Nina had once tried to drown Cece in the bathtub and had also attempted suicide by overdose. Andrew was the one who saved them both, and the one who reported Nina to police so she could get help. Back home, Millie asked Enzo why this family was so strange. Enzo brushed her off at first, then simply said she shouldn't be there at all.
What do you know about this family? What is this?
Nina flew into another rage, accusing Millie of booking the concert and hotel on the same weekend as Cece's camp drop-off, conveniently forgetting it had been her own request. Millie's pay got docked to cover it, Andrew tried to smooth things over by offering to dispute the charge with the credit card company. Saturday came. Nina dropped Cece off for a week-long camp trip. The house was down to Andrew, Millie, and Enzo.
Okay, sorry, shit.
Andrew told Millie the dispute had failed. The tickets and hotel would go to waste if unused. Seeing his chance, he asked her to come along instead. She said no at first, having no one else to bring, but eventually agreed on one condition. They'd be back home that same night. Wearing one of Nina's old dresses, Millie looked the part. After the concert, dinner and wine at an upscale restaurant, Andrew talked about the company he'd inherited from his father and how much he still loved the version of Nina he married before she became all this emotional. He apologized for his wife's behavior, which only made Millie more comfortable around him. A little buzz from dinner, they kept the night going, dancing upstairs on the restaurant's upper floor. The atmosphere thickened with every song. Intimate, charged, the kind of tension two people pretend they don't notice while actively noticing it. Time had slipped away entirely by the time Andrew deployed what I can only describe as his most practiced line delivery of the evening. He was in absolutely no condition to drive, really. It was a safety issue. Surely it made more sense to find somewhere nearby and call it a night. Nobody has ever said, "It's just safer this way," and meant it. They took separate rooms, directly across the hall from each other. Millie kept pulling herself back from the edge of her own thoughts, running the same mental calculation on a loop. One bad call, and the 5 years she still owed the state would come collecting. Then her phone came back to life. Dozens of missed calls, a wall of messages from Nina, each one angrier than the last. She'd been trying to reach Millie all night and had already done the math. By the time Millie's screen lit up, Nina had already fired her, in writing, over chat. Millie, barely keeping it together, showed Andrew the messages. He told her to breathe, promised he'd handle Nina. Stress has a way of dissolving the last few decisions a person was still planning to make. The wine, the night, the firing, Nina's name hanging over everything, none of it helped.
NANI?!
Millie and Andrew slept together. The next morning, Andrew rushed Millie home before Nina could beat them there. Millie made it clear this was a one-time thing, first and last. Andrew mused that if he'd met her before Nina, he'd have picked her, a line that landed exactly as smooth as it sounds. Back at the house, Nina still wasn't back yet. One bad decision turned into a second round.
Fuck it.
After it was over, Nina finally showed up, strangely calm, with bruises on her cheek and lip. She apologized for her outburst the night before, blaming exhaustion from the drive to camp. Over lunch with Andrew, she casually asked where Millie had gone for the weekend. Millie lied, claiming she'd been with a friend. Then, Nina dropped it. She knew Millie had spent 10 years in prison. Millie froze, fighting back tears. Nina had known about her past the whole time. Andrew sat there, stunned. Afterward, Millie was sent grocery shopping in Nina's car. At checkout, she ran into one of Nina's friends, who let it slip that most housemaids and nannies refuse to use their employer's phone because every text, call, and location gets tracked. It clicked. Nina had known about the affair from the start. On her way out, Millie was suddenly arrested for grand theft auto.
Ow! What did I do?
This car's been reported stolen.
She tried explaining the car belonged to her employer and she'd been told to drive it. Convinced Nina had filed the false report herself, Andrew managed to clear things up with police. On the drive home, Millie tried to come clean about the crime that put her away as a teenager. Andrew shut her down, said the past didn't need digging up. Back at the house, Nina confronted Andrew directly. She knew about the weekend, the hotel, all of it. Andrew tried to deflect, suggesting Nina was imagining things. Nina wasn't having it and threatened to send Millie back to prison. Andrew instead defended Millie, said he was sick of Nina's manipulation and instability, accused her of trying to ruin people's lives on purpose, and threw her out of the house without another word.
No!
Should I help packing your things? What? Fuck you.
After Nina left, Andrew tended to the bruise on Millie's cheek from where Nina had slapped her. He reassured her none of it was her fault, promised to talk to his lawyer about custody of Cece, and swore he wouldn't let her go back to prison. Andrew had promised Millie everything would work out. Nina was out of the house. The case was closed. So naturally, two responsible adults in a large empty house made a series of very sensible decisions every day for the foreseeable future. At this point, the movie has completely abandoned the concept of slow burn and is not even a little sorry about it. Drop a comment, Team Millie or Team Nina. And if you say, Andrew, I genuinely want to know what's going on in your life right now. Until one afternoon, making food for Andrew.
What do you want?
Enzo caught her off guard with a look. Startled, she dropped and shattered a porcelain plate that had belonged to Andrew's mother, Evelyn, an heirloom he'd kept pristine for years. Andrew fired Enzo on the spot and threw him out. Andrew later explained he'd wanted Enzo gone for ages, but Nina had always insisted on keeping him. He added that the plate was irreplaceable, something he guarded carefully. Millie apologized. Andrew said it was fine and told her to clean up the mess. It's fine has never once meant it's fine in a thriller, ever. Settling into her new routine, Millie noticed something odd in Cece's dollhouse. A tiny figure of a woman placed on the bed in the rooftop bedroom. That night, Andrew came home to find the broken plate still uncleaned. Millie claimed she'd been afraid of cutting herself. His expression said otherwise. One more drink turned into the rooftop room. The rooftop room turned into something neither of them was going to put into words. By the time the city went quiet outside, the conversation had stopped entirely.
I'm here, serious.
But when Millie woke up,
Andrew?
the door was locked. She was trapped inside. At first, she thought Andrew was joking. Through the door, his voice turned ice cold. He'd let her out eventually, and then he left her there, alone. Panic set in fast.
Andrew, can you hear me? Can you let me out?
The movie flashes back. After Nina got thrown out of the house, she laughed hard. She checked into a hotel, relieved to finally be free of Andrew. Then she started writing a long letter to Cece, meant to be read once her daughter was old enough to understand all of it. Nina's real story started at age 8, when she lost both parents in a house fire. The rumor that she'd started it herself was never true. She grew up in foster care, smart enough to scholarship her way into law school, which, as it turned out, was its own kind of trap. One of her professors got her pregnant and denied everything. Cece was born anyway. Nina went back to work anyway, managing a full caseload at a law firm. Cece in the on-site daycare, running on whatever single mothers run on when sleep stops being an option. Then one afternoon, Nina walked into a client meeting late.
There they are. Myself up.
Sorry.
The fuck? Right?
That was the moment Andrew Winchester noticed her. After the meeting, he asked her to lunch, composed, unhurried. The kind of man who makes you feel like he's been waiting specifically for you. Nina was done for. Handsome, humble, knew exactly how to carry himself in a room. He even mentioned, almost casually, that he'd once been engaged, called it off before the wedding, didn't say much more than that. 6 weeks of dating. Andrew proposed. Nina said yes before he finished the sentence. She had everything she'd ever wanted: the man, the house, the future that finally looked like something. The only thing nagging at the back of her mind was the one question Andrew never quite answered: what actually happened to the woman before her? Then one morning, making breakfast, Andrew got visibly irritated by Nina's roots growing in unevenly. She promised to diet that day, but Cece needed her attention and it slipped. Andrew just smiled and asked her to grab some files from the rooftop room. That's where Nina got locked in for forgetting to touch up her hair. This is the part of the recap where the movie tells you exactly what kind of man Andrew is. That's where Andrew's real personality surfaced: a controlling perfectionist with textbook OCD tendencies, obsessed with dominance, especially over the women around him, zero tolerance for the smallest mistake. Locking Nina up was, in his mind, a lesson that would make her better. He slid an envelope under the door with instructions: pull 100 strands of hair out by the root, then seal them inside. Do that, and he'd let her out. Andrew left her 3 small water bottles and no food. Starving and weak after days locked up, Nina finished the task. One strand came out without a follicle, so Andrew made her redo the entire count, more carefully this time. Only after a second attempt did he finally let her out. Her ordeal wasn't over. Andrew had slipped sleeping pills into her water.
If you'd let me, I can help.
When she came to, hours later, she found Cece already in the bathtub, water running. The second she picked Cece up, police arrived and arrested her for mental instability, attempted suicide, and attempted harm to her own daughter. Nina realized, too late, that Andrew had engineered the entire thing, so no one would believe a word she said if she ever went to police. Meanwhile, the outside world kept painting Andrew as the patient, heroic husband stuck with an unstable wife. After 9 months in psychiatric care, desperate to see Cece again, Nina confessed to something she never did, just to be released. From that point on, Andrew had complete control, promising their family could be happy as long as Nina followed his rules. Nina couldn't get through to her friends. They'd always side with Andrew and write her off as the dangerous, unstable one. Andrew wanted a biological child badly, but Nina refused to bring a kid into the world with a father like him. Secretly, she got an IUD and conspired with a doctor friend to tell Andrew she was infertile. The abuse never stopped. Nina kept getting locked up over the smallest things: spilling juice, forgetting to turn off a light, anything. Nina deliberately hired Enzo as the gardener, hoping he'd witness Andrew's real nature firsthand. Enzo even helped forge passports for Nina and Cece so they could run. Andrew found them first and used it as leverage to have Nina committed again. At one point, Nina considered ending her own life but stopped herself. She refused to leave Cece to be raised by a man like that. Eventually, she found Andrew's one real weakness: his hunger to be worshipped, to always play the hero. So Nina built her plan: bring Millie into the house. Millie checked every box of the type of woman Andrew gravitated toward: beautiful, sharp, blonde, isolated, abandoned by family and friends. Andrew would inevitably want to play savior for someone like her. Nina also knew Millie had served 15 years for a killing and was currently on parole. She was betting Andrew would fall for Millie and repeat the same pattern, lock her up. And she was counting on something else: a woman who'd already survived prison would know how to fight back. Back in the present, Andrew told Millie she'd made a serious mistake breaking his mother's porcelain plate, something he'd kept pristine for years without a single scratch. Millie, floored by the sudden shift in him, tried apologizing. Instead, as punishment, Andrew demanded she cut her own stomach with broken glass. 21 times, one for every shard of the plate, which he'd apparently counted. He told her to make the cuts, long and deep, done properly. That night, Millie thought back to the killing she'd committed in high school: a wealthy classmate, handsome, well-liked, seemingly patient, eerily similar to Andrew, had assaulted a friend of hers. Millie caught him in the act and, blind with rage,
I didn't mean to kill him.
beat him to death trying to stop him. Nobody believed her side of it. Police and everyone else sided with the victim, a rich kid, over Millie, a scholarship student. Cornered from every direction, she eventually pled to manslaughter and got 15 years. After a decade behind bars, abandoned by her own family, she made parole and ended up working a bar job where the boss harassed her coworkers, which she dealt with herself, no hesitation.
Charlie, you fucking freak!
Now, Millie understood. Nina had hired her specifically to engineer her own escape from Andrew for her and Cece's sake. She also found a cheese knife Nina had deliberately hidden in the rooftop room, a way to fight back. Out of sheer desperation, Millie went along with Andrew's punishment and cut her stomach with the glass. Meanwhile, Nina was having dinner with Cece, telling her they'd be finding a new place to live soon. Relieved her mother was finally free, Cece still worried about Millie and asked Nina to bring her along when they left. The next morning, Andrew opened the door and carefully counted Millie's cuts. Satisfied she'd served her sentence properly, he told her he genuinely wanted a life with her, hoped she'd learned her lesson, and promised her everything, as long as she played by his rules. Millie attacked, grabbed his phone, and locked Andrew in the room. The self-inflicted cuts had been a calculated risk to get a shot at fighting back. Discovering a hidden camera built into the doorframe, the same one Andrew had used to monitor her remotely the whole time. Starving, Millie ate first, then gathered every piece of his mother's porcelain collection, along with a pair of pliers. As punishment, she demanded Andrew pull out his own front teeth so no other woman would ever fall for that smile again. Andrew refused. When he wouldn't cooperate,
Millie, stop it! Stop it right! Stop it right!
Millie calmly started smashing the porcelain collection piece by piece, while Andrew seethed behind the door. Then she raised the stakes.
Not if I kill you first. I was in prison for murder.
What are you doing? Millie! Stop! Okay, Millie.
Threatening to set the rooftop room on fire if he kept refusing. Cornered, Andrew pulled out his own teeth.
Wait, I wanna watch.
Okay.
Millie still didn't let him go, leaving him to suffer longer. That night, Millie relaxed in front of the TV and dozed off. Nina, worried about Millie's safety, showed up at the house, not yet aware Millie was already free, and headed straight for the rooftop room. Millie woke to footsteps but couldn't warn her in time.
Millie. Hey, it's Nina. Nina, what the fuck are you doing?
I miss you so much.
Andrew had already escaped and gone hunting for Millie.
You. Come here. What the fuck?
Unable to find her, he assumed she'd fled. He found Nina instead and put on a show of remorse, asking for a clean slate on the condition she never told anyone what happened in that house. Nina wasn't buying any of it. She told him flatly that everything he had was built on lies. The company was just an inheritance. Cece wasn't his daughter, and as a wife, she despised him. She added that she actually pitied him. A spoiled boy starved for validation, hollow underneath all the polish, the product of a mother who'd raised him to be just as perfectionist and controlling as she was. Andrew snapped and lunged at Nina, trying to push her off the balcony. Before he could, Millie arrived just in time and shoved Andrew first. He didn't survive the fall. Andrew's reign of terror was finally over. Nina told Millie to leave and start over somewhere new. Police arrived shortly after. Nina told them Andrew had fallen while changing a chandelier bulb and that the housemaid had the day off. The officer questioning her wasn't entirely convinced. Andrew's body had stab wounds and a missing tooth, but it turned out she was the sister of Andrew's former fiancé and had known for years exactly what kind of man he was. Ever since that broken engagement left her sister's mental health in pieces. So she filed it as an accident, official record and all. Andrew's funeral drew a crowd, plenty of visible grief. Ownership of the house passed to Nina, who decided to sell it and move to California with Cece. Amid the mourning, Evelyn fixated on her son's missing tooth, insisting a smile like his was a rare gift, and still found a moment to criticize Cece's outfit as inappropriate for a funeral. The point landed clear. Andrew really hadn't fallen far from the tree. Nina handed Millie a generous check as a genuine thank you for everything. The film closes on Millie interviewing for another housemaid position. This family found her through a recommendation from Nina herself. During the interview, Millie spots a bruise on the wife's arm. Same story, different house. Millie smiles, fully aware Nina steered her here on purpose. She can't wait to start. Here's what stuck with me. Every hero in this movie was just a guy who needed an audience. Andrew needed Nina to look unstable so he could look patient. He needed Millie broken so he could look like a savior. The second a woman in his house stopped performing gratitude, he lost the ability to control the story. And Nina, the so-called unstable wife, turned out to be the only person in this house playing 4 moves ahead the entire time. Moral of the story: if your future spouse proposes after 6 weeks and the guest room has a deadbolt on the outside, that's not romance. That's a red flag wearing a tuxedo. Let me know what you saw coming and what blindsided you completely. And drop your prediction in the comments for what happens to Millie's new employer. I've got a feeling it doesn't end well for him.